Greetings, Cleveland, and welcome to Creative Focus, the show that illuminates some of Cleveland's most talented and creative artists across the genres of dance, film, music, theater, and visual arts. I'm your host, Cornell Callum III, and I'm thrilled to have as my guest today on Creative Focus, actor, playwright, Mr. Madison Ledyard King. Madison, welcome to Creative Focus, man. Let's chop it up.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so you're a local artist. I know you graduated from Villa Angelo, St. Joe.
Yes, sir.
Went to Kent State University.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how this film journey started for you.
Wow. Yeah, that's one of my favorite stories. I mean, so I started at Kent State as a business management major. Had no passion or interest in like pursuing the arts, specifically filmmaking or acting. And like I was away from home for the first time. It was my freshman year in college. And, you know, being away from home, I wanted to just try something different, try new things. And one day I just saw like a flyer for like a local play that was looking for actors. And then, you know, I never thought about acting or nothing like that. So I was like, all right, I'll try this. Maybe I'll like it, you know, see where it takes me. I went to the audition. The director loved what I did. And she was like, yeah, you should pursue this. You're really good at this. You have a real skill and a talent. We did the show. Our first night was a sold out performance. It was such a huge moment for me. And ever since then I was like, yeah, I want to do something in the art, something creative.
So what was your first play?
It was a play called An Echo in the Bone. And it was at Kent State, but it was through their like Pan-African Studies program.
Okay, I'm familiar with that. Yeah, mm-hmm. Okay. Because I know a couple of times, I think once Terrence Spivey from Karamu collaborated and did a play there.
Okay.
I can recall that. So how do you think Cleveland influenced you as a filmmaker, would you say?
Oh, well, Cleveland is through the lifeblood of everything I do. I mean, it's why I am the way that I am. I mean, so as much as I can, I try and implement like the city of Cleveland and the people in Cleveland that inspire me or that I look up to or try to like implement, you know, sort of like the way that they've approached their career into the, you know, filmmaking that I've done so far. And specifically for one of my short films, Dreams, which was my senior thesis capstone project. It was a film about just like a young artist trying to pursue their dream of being a singer and sort of being thwarted by, you know, the qualms of just life and societal like pressures of, you know, getting a 9-to-5 or getting a more like structural, safe job. And not taking that risk. And, you know, because it was a passion project of mine and something that resonated so closely with me as an artist, I wanted to, you know, bring onto the team as many people from Cleveland specifically that I have for the past few years been observing and watching and just, you know, seeing how they make moves in the city. So that's why I casted, you know, someone like Peter Lawson Jones in the project who's been making huge waves since he came out, you know, acting and even before that in Cleveland. And so Cleveland is in everything I do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Peter Lawson Jones is one of the best ever.
Yes, he is.
I had him on the show. He and I did a couple shows at Karamu together. And so I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the film Dreams.
Okay.
I got a clip of it with Peter Lawson Jones. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll talk about it further.
I did.
And?
I'm not going to take the job, Dad.
Adrian,
Think about what you're doing. I don't even want to do it, Dad. This is my life and my choice. Dad, I want to take up singing again.
You can't be serious.
Dad, just listen. Singing is what makes me happy. Okay? It's what gives me purpose and fulfillment. And okay, might be missing out on the opportunity of a lifetime that you're giving me. But I can't go every day wondering what if. And that doesn't mean that I won't be there for you and the company when you need me. Okay? But I have to do my own path right now, Dad. I have to follow my dreams.
Adrian, you have to be realistic. Think about your future. What if this doesn't work out? What if it's like the last time?
That's just the risk that I have to take. Look, it's not about the pressures of making it or not making it. I just want to sing, Dad. I just want to sing for me.
I understand. I guess I want you to do what feels right for you in the end. And I know how passionate you are about your music. What can I say? You probably got that from me. Maybe it's me who's been too realistic about my life choices. Don't let me stop you, eh? And remember, if you need it, there's always a home for you here.
Thanks, Dad.
Don't mention it. You're my son. I'm always going to support you, no matter what.
Yeah, he's the best, man. He's the best.
Yes.
So you said this was a project for your for Kent State. When were you at Kent State? How did that work?
Yeah, so it was so being I was studying DMP, digital media production at Kent State, which is their equivalent to like a film program.
Okay.
And as part of like our senior like thesis project, we had to make a short film, and it was based off of a script that I had written, I think either my freshman or sophomore year at college, after I started like getting more into like filmmaking, and just wanting to make a story about sort of what I was going through as an artist. And so yeah, and it was, singing, even before like acting, singing was something, music rather was something that I wanted to pursue, but never really found the courage or the voice to do so. And then I found, acting and filmmaking.
So where do your ideas for your films come from?
Just life.
What'd you say?
Yeah, just life experience, and something that I always try and implement into my stories is, writing from experience. I feel like that's the most authentic way to tell stories. And, I think if you're writing from your own personal experiences, there's like, a lot of people say like, imitation is a huge kind of obstacle that a lot of people face in this industry of like not wanting to tell the same story. But I think as long as you're coming from, a very interpersonal place, there's no way that you can tell a story that someone else has already told, because your story isn't the same as everyone else's story, and, every story kind of overlaps in certain ways with others. But yeah, as long as I feel like I'm telling stories from personal experiences, that's always gonna.
Do you work on other projects for other people, or primarily work yourself?
I work on projects for other people. I mean, as a director and a writer, I typically stay to myself and, work on my own projects. But as an actor, I'm always working with other people and other creatives.
And how important do you think short films are to the industry? Because, a lot of times people, they prefer the feature films, but even myself, I've created more shorts than features,
Right.
primarily because of my money.
Right.
What do you think the short film, what's the place in the short film in the industry in your estimation?
Yeah, so I mean, short films are the training grounds for filmmakers to find their voice, find what they love to do, what kind of stories they like to tell, and to really just try things, work with other creators that they might form long-term like relationships with, and really just try things that they might fail at or they might succeed at, and as you said, like features are expensive and, they are huge risks. So
Right.
It's something that, if you're able to make a short film and then turn it into a feature, that's always going to warrant, the best results.
What do you think is the most important aspect when you're trying to make a successful film?
Authenticity. I think authenticity is the best way to tell a story. And I mean, filmmaking is just storytelling. So yeah, if you're authentic with your point of view and honest and being truthful, I think that's the best way to be successful.
And what do you enjoy most about being a filmmaker? Because filmmaking is a cool society.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot that it's a lot of work that people don't see, right? People will watch for a short film, for instance. They'll watch a 6 to 20 minute short film that you've made and not know the years of work that went into making that short film. Same goes for a feature length film. And I mean, the thing that I've kind of found to love through all of like the turmoil of having to make a film is just the process, really. I mean, it's like I said, you get to meet and network and work with so many interesting and creative people and tell a story that is meaningful to you, meaningful to other people. And it's always amazing.
Wow. And what separates you, Madison Ledyard King, from other filmmakers?
Jeez, I don't know. I think, I don't know. I don't know what separates me from other filmmakers. I mean, I just try and be like honest with myself and do things that, inspire me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what makes me different.
And what impact do you hope that your films will have on the audience?
In terms of impact, I definitely want to continue to tell stories that push the envelope in terms of like inspiring people to do things differently. And I don't know, I want people to be able to, experience films that I make and stories that I tell and just let it move them in the way that it moves them. But, my through line is always to tell stories that are inspirational or like motivational and like helping people to, follow their own passions in life. So hopefully that, resonates with them in that way.
Well, I'll tell you, in terms of impact, the film Detox had an impact on me.
Okay.
I think it's incredible work. And we're going to take a moment and take a look at the clip of Detox, Madison Ledyard King.
Have you seen the king? He does not come down very
Hello,
often.
please leave a message after the tone.
You must be a stranger.
Hey David, it's your mom. I'm just calling to see how you're doing. I haven't really heard much from you since that accident happened. I know you've been having a lot on your mind lately, but please don't forget that your family is always here for you if you ever need them. Oh, and I hope you aren't still taking those pills anymore. They're not good for you. I know you're an adult now and you're supposed to be on your own and everything, but if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask. Goodbye, sweetheart.
You ever gonna call her back?
What does it matter to you?
Doesn't. Just asking. God, you are so selfish. She's the one person who actually cares about you. You're so immature. You can't pretend like I'm not here.
Hey, big guy.
Hey, Jules.
You feeling all right? You sound a little sick.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just a little cold is all.
Oh? Okay. That's good. You want me to bring you some soup?
Why do you always feel the need to take care of me?
You're my best friend. Of course I'm gonna want to take care of you.
I'm alright. I promise. Okay?
Okay. I'm still coming over for movie night tomorrow, though, right?
Yes. Yes. Alright, I gotta go.
Where are you in a rush to?
Nowhere.
Oh, ominous. Okay. I guess I'll talk to you later then. Bye.
Bye.
Aw, how sweet.
Shut up.
Do you want me to make you some soup? What a waste. Too bad she doesn't know you're just gonna break her heart. Just like you do with everyone who ever tries to get close to you.
Oh, yeah. Like you would know.
I know you better than you know yourself.
See, I love this film. So where did that concept come from?
Oh, wow. Well, Detox was something, I wrote it like freshman or sophomore year of college, and we had made it right before the pandemic hit. And it was a project that I wanted to just make on my own terms and, not have to rely on like school or any other sort of like predisposed resources, to just be able to go out and make a film on my own, accord. And the idea really came from, a point in my life where I was going through something, relationship wise with someone, and just kind of trying to understand the dichotomy and the duality really of like what addiction and love really meant. So, the big sort of like duality that the main character struggles with in the film is love and addiction to like substance abuse, right? And so I don't know, I just wanted to try and blend those two together and see what I could come up with. And it
Was Detox your first film?
No, it wasn't my first film. The first film I ever directed, at least, was a short film called Trapped, which was about human trafficking. First script I ever wrote, it was a six-minute short film that I made back in 2018, 2019.
What are the biggest challenges that you think a filmmaker makes when he sets out to create a film?
Well, when you set out to create a film, I think the biggest challenge is finding the confidence to choose to do that I've noticed a lot of filmmakers struggle with. There's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't be making films. And I feel like a lot of filmmakers struggle with that notion and that fact that, that filmmaking is hard, it's expensive, it's time consuming, and it doesn't always mean that it's going to warrant successful results. And that, that stops a lot of people from approaching, the art form. But I think, that's something that I've tried to overcome and and successfully defeat. So, I think that's like the biggest challenge. Yeah.
In terms of comedy versus drama, do you have a preference, or it doesn't matter to you?
They always say comedy is harder than drama. I haven't really stepped into the world of comedy yet. I think drama has been something that just has spoken to me more as an artist recently, but I love comedy. I love watching comedy. I love, taking in comedy as an audience member. So who knows?
Are there specific themes of Madison that you pursue when you write and direct your films?
Not necessarily. Just whatever is speaking to me at the time of like working on that project. For instance, my last film, Black Boys Don't Cry, was about toxic masculinity and mental health and anxiety in Black men, which for the past few years has been a topic that I've been wanting to tackle in a big way. So just whatever at the moment is like really like, bring something out of me.
We've got a clip of that film. So we're going to take a look at it now. Watch this talented filmmaker at work.
Now, you see what I mean about the importance of refurbishing of the foundation. Whether for a house or for any other structure, the purpose of the foundation or surface is to hold the building up. The stronger the surface, the more durable and stable it is. This may seem like common sense, but I'll say it anyway. Without a strong foundation, everything comes crumbling down. Yes, Michaela?
Well, what about an unstable foundation? Like the homes built in the 1800s in the rural South? Some of those don't even have a foundation, and yet they're holding strong. Why is that?
You pose a great question, Ms. Walters, and I'll be happy to answer it just as soon as I'm sure the entire class is geared to the lesson at hand. Mr. Wallace. We've been here for nearly an hour, and I very much doubt you know what's going on since you've been preoccupied with other things. Is this going to be an ongoing issue with you? Get it together, Mr. Wallace. You have wasted enough of your classmates' time, and you have certainly wasted more than enough of mine.
Yeah, that's a powerful film, Madison. Were there any challenges that you faced in making that film?
Well, I would say the biggest challenge making the film was really trying to tackle the approach of being a director and also an actor in the film.
Right.
That's always a challenge. I mean, being a director is such it's a job that has such a heavy load.
Sure.
And I mean, being an actor, especially in a film with such a heavy topic as that one, you have to be very present through the mental state of the character throughout the whole story. So it was a lot of like mental gymnastics going through to try and make that film and, direct the crew and the cast and everything. But yeah, I think, just trying to stay in the moment was the toughest thing.
Yeah, I can recall a lot of individuals in theater. I think it's even more difficult in theater when you try to direct and act because you're on the set. At least with the film, you can shoot the film, and then if you don't like what you've done, you can go back. It's kind of difficult, in the theater to do that. Do you have a favorite film?
It always changes with the seasons. I feel like it's hard to have a favorite film because film is something that, it speaks to what you're kind of experiencing in the moment, and it's going to mean something more to you, like when you watch that movie.
Right.
But I think the most influential film in my life has been Barry Jenkins' film Moonlight. I watched that, in my college dorm room in my freshman year in college, and I don't know, it showed me what film could be, because at that point, like I said, I hadn't wanted to pursue anything creatively or, at least in filmmaking, and I didn't know really that you could tell films like this. I at that point in my life, like, I only knew Marvel movies, right? I only knew like Pixar movies, stuff that, is like big box office movies that you would see in theaters. I didn't know you could tell stories that were so like, small or like, personal. And it meant a lot to me, because I wasn't aware that those kind of films existed. So, and that one specifically spoke to me a lot because of what the film was about. So yeah, that film has done a lot for me.
Do you openly submit your films to film festivals? I know Dreams was at the Greater Cleveland Urban Film Festival. That's where we met.
Yes.
Do you openly submit your films to?
Yeah, I submit my films to festivals as much as I can. I think festivals are a great way for smaller filmmakers to, especially with short films, to really show their talent, meet new people, and just get an audience to rally behind them in terms of like the kind of stories that they like to tell, and see what works and what doesn't work about your film.
Do you have a preference being in the, performing or directing? Does it matter to you? And I got two-point question.
Okay.
And how important do you think it was to be a performer before you became a director?
I like that question. Well, for the first one, I think that's like asking your two kids, like asking a parent who has two kids, which one you think is your favorite. It's a really tough question to answer, but I love directing and I love acting equally. I think acting is really interesting because it allows me to really experience things and live through moments and have a sort of like artistic catharsis with certain things in my life. Like, Black Boys Don't Cry and what that film was about. That was something that I had experienced personally. So it was a huge moment for me to be able to live through that and be able to share that with other people. But yeah, in terms of being a director, it's also, it's a wild concept to be able to have an idea, a vision for something, especially as something as complex as like making a film, bringing on a team of people who are talented in their own respect and help you bring your vision to life and see that really come to fruition. It's a great experience. It's a great privilege. And can you remind me what the second part of the question was again?
The second part of the question was, I've forgotten.
It was a loaded question. You asked me in terms of being a performer before a director.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
So in terms of being a performer before a director, I feel like as I've gotten more and more into the world of filmmaking and just being more of a student of film and watching like other successful filmmakers and how they've made their films, a lot of what makes a successful director is their actors. A huge thing in the industry that people say is that, if you cast the right people as a director, 50% of your job is done. Mm-hmm. So being a performer allows me to understand the mind of an actor as a director, right? And just being able to know, like, how do I speak to an actor? How do I get a performance out of them that I need? Being an actor myself, what do I want to hear? What do I want to, how do I want to be directed? And I think, some of the best films, if you really look at it, some of the best films are from directors who were actors at some point.
Sure.
So, acting and directing are two things that kind of go hand in hand, really.
Are there any directors that you, filmmakers that you admire, that you aspire to see at all?
Yeah, I think in terms of like filmmakers, I don't really have too many big, inspirations, just because I don't want to have another filmmaker's, vision or like their impact influence how my career and my, directing experience, will go. But I will say, in terms of like just the type of filmmakers and their tenacity and their drive to make films, Spike Lee is such a huge inspiration for me in that regard. Ryan Coogler, because they're two gentlemen, black men who have made films, and Spike Lee, when he first started out, I mean, he was going door to door, to his neighbors trying to, get financing for his film.
Right.
And because he had a story to tell, and he wasn't going to let anyone stop him from telling that story. So I think something like that is something that is huge for me in terms of like inspiring me and wanting me to be better as a filmmaker. But yeah, in terms of like, being inspired or, as an artist, I try to not let anyone else influence like the stories that I'll tell.
So what do you do when you're not making films? What do you enjoy doing?
When am I not making films? Is the real question. I take up different hobbies every now and then. I love learning languages. Last year I was trying to teach myself Korean because I'm a big fan of like Korean films.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just wanted to try something, that was different and, see if one day I could like watch those films without subtitles.
So what is it about Korean films that you enjoy most, would you say?
I mean, Korean films, like, I don't know what it is, but Korean filmmakers, they make some of the best like thriller movies.
Okay.
I mean, there's Old Boy, which is a classic Korean thriller movie. Parasite, which is a more recent movie, but it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Memories of Murder. There's so many, like, I don't know, it's something that the way that they tell their stories, there's something so interesting and engaging about the narratives that they can create. So they're just really good.
Do you have a film library at home?
No, I don't.
Of films that you really enjoy?
Nah, I wish I did. I want to take up more of gathering like physical media, but I don't have a library.
Is there a film that you've watched over and over for whatever reason?
Oh, geez. Well, a guilty pleasure movie of mine is it's like a comedy movie from the 2010s called Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's based off of like a comic book, but yeah, I've watched that movie like maybe 100 times. It's such a good movie.
Now, do you watch your movies like 100 times?
Nah. Once we're done with the edit, I try and like, step away from it. Most of the time, I have another project on my mind that I go to.
Yeah, because I watch my films all the time, over and over and over.
Yeah, well, I mean, once you're in the editing room, you're already watching it, over and over, So it just, as a director at least, I get very nitpicky. So, my biggest thing is that I feel like you never finish a film. You just have to call it. As an artist, as a director,
right. That's a good point.
There's always things that you can do to make it better.
Right.
But you never finish a film, but the film finishes you, if anything. But
and what's next for Madison Ledyard King? What's next for you?
I'm working on a few projects right now. One of my main projects that I'm trying to get off the ground is a feature film, my first feature film.
Okay.
It's a movie I'm actually working on with Peter Lawson Jones.
Okay.
Where he's starring as
PLJ. Yeah.
Yes, sir, the one and only. It's called The Last Shop on Walnut. It's a really like quaint, small like story about a lamp shop owner who hermits himself in his lamp shop. And one day he has a nephew who comes around and sort of turns his life upside down. And it's a really interesting story. And
this is going to be a feature?
It's going to be a feature, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're hoping to shoot it sometime late this year.
Okay.
Sometime in the fall, hopefully. So
I'll look forward to it.
Yeah.
If you have an audition process, let me know.
Okay, absolutely.
I might play an old timer in there.
Okay, yeah. Maybe we get something in there for you.
Yeah, we'll get something in there, cameo or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Thanks for being on the show, Madison.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So that's it, Cleveland. We're out. But remember, a true artist is not only inspired, but inspires others. I'm Cornell Calhoun III for TV 20 and Creative Focus. Until the next time becomes our time, be well, be safe.